What's up, everybody? Hope that you guys are having a beautiful day today. We've only got one game left. It's all come down to this. The Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be fun breaking down this game over the next 2 weeks. We'll be here with you guys on Friday. We'll be here with you guys in a special show next week to break everything down. I'm going to go over that here momentarily. But first and foremost, I want to thank you guys for being with us this entire season. It's been a blast being able to do these shows and share some of the insight with you. Hope that you guys have been enjoying them as well. Just want to make sure that you guys stay in touch over on YouTube. That's where we go live. So if you want to like and comment and contribute, this is the Sharp.Football show. Just search for Sharp.Football analysis over on YouTube. You can contribute some of your thoughts and your takes. I'll interact with you over there. I'm looking forward to a great show today. We're going to break down some of my reactions from Conference Championship, some of the things that I saw come out of those games, some of the things that we can take away to both help the league, help some of the teams, help some of the coaches, and win some bets for the Super Bowl. So really looking forward to all that. We got some people already in the chat checking in. Jack, this is a Super Bowl jacket that I got from the Los Angeles Super Bowl. I always buy, every time I go to the Super Bowl, I'm buying a football. I got some of them here. You could see some of the footballs. I love that Las Vegas Super Bowl right there in the middle. That was from last year's Super Bowl, the Las Vegas football there in the middle. You got some others from the other years, others that I don't have up on display there. And I always buy a jacket, a starter jacket. They always have unique jackets for every city. So I'm looking forward to the jacket for this upcoming Super Bowl and bring home tons of swag and memorabilia. Spend a ton of money at the store. But the best part about going there and going to that store is there's a FedEx place like right inside the building, the huge conference center. They have it in like a setup right there. And you can just throw everything in the box and tell them, I want this home by tomorrow. And they'll have everything shipped, and then you can have it before the game starts. It's great getting some merch from the Super Bowls. But with that said, I do want to talk about the show next week. Let's do a quick schedule update because we got a contest that you need to be aware of. Next week's show is going to be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Special time. Special show. This is going to be an all hands on deck show. I will be there. Rich Rebar will be there. Ray Summerlin will be there. Pam Maldonado will be there. We might have some guests who are going to be there. It's going to probably be a 2-hour Super Bowl extravaganza next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. where we're going to be breaking down the game in all the detail that you're going to need to have success betting it. We're going to give you some of our favorite props. All of us are going to be giving you some of our favorite props. But the big thing about this show that's going to be special, where you guys can win $2,500, up to $2,500, is the special contest that we're going to be running. So next Tuesday, we are going to be running the Shark Tank show. It's modeled after Shark Tank. If you know the show, we're going to have a panel of sharks. In this case, we're calling them sharps. You can come before us with your favorite prop bet for the Super Bowl. We will select one that we like the most. The winner will get cash and prizes worth $2,500. So let's dive in a little bit more to the contest. To enter the contest, all you have to do is record your pitch of your favorite Super Bowl prop bet and why you like it in video format, 60 seconds or less, because we're going to play the top 10 selected videos on next week's Super Bowl preview show. So you're going to come on, you're going to record your prop. You're going to record it like, hello, Sharps, my favorite Super Bowl prop is, and the reason I like it is, so you're hitting both of those things. You're giving us a little bit about it. You don't necessarily have to be on camera if you don't want to be. You got a prop bet on Patrick Mahomes or Isaiah Pacheco. You can just record video of highlights of Patrick Mahomes or Isaiah Pacheco with you still presenting the prop on top of it. You have to have your voice on there explaining why you like that prop. 60 seconds or less. You're going to submit those to us. We'll review the submissions and select the best ones that we're going to present live on our Super Bowl props show next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. The panel of sharps will share our thoughts on each prop, and we're going to select our favorite one live on that Super Bowl show. That favorite one that we select, we are going to put $1,000 on that prop live on air. We're going to bet it on that prop. And if that bet wins, the winner is going to get all the profit from that ticket plus an all access package for 2025. So free all access package for next year. That's over $1,000. We're going to also be betting it's over $1,000, or sorry, $1,000 on the winning prop bet. Now, if your prop bet loses, if we select you and you lose, then I'm just out that money and you don't get anything. But hopefully it's going to win. We've got your ideas on your favorite props, and then we've got the panel of people chiming in, and we're going to try to help navigate everybody to the collective best prop. We're also going to be giving away another ticket. We're going to get a sponsorship in here. We're almost done papering up, and we're going to have some discounts for one of the bigger books that you guys might be aware of, and you're going to be able to get a discount for the prop that we ultimately select. You're going to get a bonus there, so we'll get you more information about that. You can begin submitting your favorite props in video form beginning Friday, this Friday. So not today, not tomorrow. Don't bother trying to record it today or tomorrow. The line needs to be as crisp as possible. The line needs to be as fresh as possible when we go to do the show on Tuesday night. So anytime between Friday and next Monday at noon Eastern is when we're cutting off the video entries. The window for submitting entries is going to end at Monday at noon Eastern. We'll provide more detail on where you submit the videos on the Friday show. You don't have to record yourself in the video if you choose not to, but part of the criteria for winning will be the video itself, in addition to the prop being something that we think has a good chance of winning. We'll provide more details on the show on Friday. So that's the first prop contest, and this will all leads into our big show that we've got next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So everybody be on the lookout for that. We're going to be emptying the tanks. We're going to be researching from now all the way through until next week and giving you some very actionable betting information. So set your alarms next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Another thing you can do if you just want to get some free money from us is head on over to Sharp.Football at any point, and there's a free prop contest at the top of that. Totally separate contest. There's over $2,000 in prizes for this contest. We've already put together a list of 15 props for the Super Bowl that range from whether or not Jalen Hurts scores a touchdown to the color of Gatorade that's going to be dumped on the winning coach. All you have to do is go through and pick everything you think will happen for a chance to win. The participant that chooses the most correct answers will get cash plus subscriptions for 2025. And if you're a subscriber to our Super Bowl package, we're going to double the cash prize, so you can walk away with over $600 in that, plus the value of a betting subscription for 2025. So that contest is already up right now. It's up at Sharp.Football. You can enter that right now if you want, or you can wait, keep doing your research. There's no benefit to going early. Those lines are going to stay still and frozen, so you can wait and enter that contest 60 minutes before the start of the Super Bowl if you wish to, if you want to keep researching up until that point in time. But we'll have more information on this Super Bowl props contest that we're going to be running here, and I think you're going to really enjoy that one. Okay. Damon says, great ideas. Mac Hollins to make one plus catches, if I can speak properly. Damon also says, wait, why did Jim and Tony say there was a flag? Did that flag come from the overhead official? I don't think there was ever a flag on the field. That is accurate. There was never a flag on the field. What ended up happening, and I know that was a little bit confusing at the end of that Bills-Chiefs game, where they said, wait a second, there's a flag on the field. The spotter thought that he saw a flag. So the spotter who works for CBS said to those guys, there's a flag. The announcers basically, it's like that Ron Burgundy, I read whatever's on the screen. The announcers just regurgitated that. There's a flag on the field. But then the spotter obviously got it wrong. It's the spotter's fault. He made a mistake. There was no flag on the field. I don't really think that there's anything to see there. People are saying, oh, if Dalton Kincaid would have caught that ball, then we would have had the actual flag. Obviously, you know, that's not the case, but it definitely was a problem. And memorabilia 1777, Larry Sports Talk memorabilia says, is this going to be the worst Super Bowl of all time? I will tell you this. If you don't like either of these teams, if you kind of wish that the Kansas City Chiefs, I saw that meme going around about what is America rooting for. Small section is rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles right around Philadelphia. Small section is rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs right around Kansas City. The rest of the country is rooting for a meteor strike. If you're one of those people who is rooting for that meteor strike, the one thing I could say, obviously, in addition to the spectacle, which you got to enjoy the Super Bowl. I mean, you might be rooting against both of these teams, but there's a few things you can do. One, you can try to make money off of Roger Goodell's Super Bowl. So let's try to win a little bit of money here. Make yourself feel better. Secondly, it is a spectacle. This is a big day. We're having Super Bowl party here. Like, I don't know what time people are going to start showing up, but like this game runs all day. Like the preparation runs all day. They've got this thing is a massive spectacle. Halftime show should be fun too. So it's going to be fun from that regard. Well, last thing, and we're going to actually talk about this coming up here momentarily. If you don't have any other stake in this game and you don't care what really happens, you're kind of rooting against both of these teams. Pay attention to the Philadelphia Eagles tush push. And Steve Spagnuolo's got 2 weeks to try to come up with an answer to the Philadelphia Eagles tush push. And we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills tush push that he largely stopped. They tried it 5 times in the game last week. Actual tush pushes. Only the first one was successful. The other 4 did not get a first down. And we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills tush pushes, but we're also going to be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles tush push. And that's an interesting matchup. Like, who's going to win the battle of the Philadelphia Eagles tush push? It might sound stupid, but it actually could go a long way to determining the eventual outcome of this game and whether Spags can figure out a way to stop it. And Ian says the last time they played, which was, well, actually they played once in 2023. But the last time they played in the Super Bowl, the 2022 Super Bowl out in Arizona, which I was at, that game was absolutely phenomenal. That was one of the best Super Bowls that we've had in recent memory. Of course, if you're a Chiefs fan, the result was great. But from a thrill of victory, agony of defeat, watching the game, being competitive down to the wire, that was a ton of fun. Back and forth. So, let's start talking about some of these issues. And the first one I want to hit right now is the issue of fixing how we are spotting the ball in the NFL. The biggest issue that I have with this is the one that I don't think anybody's talked about yet. And that is the concept of the call on the field stance. The concept of the ball, you must have indisputable video evidence to show that something else, there's a reason that the call should be changed. A football field is 53 yards wide. That's 160 feet. So it's 53 point something yards wide. It's 160 feet. That means that guy on the sideline, if there's a play happening in the middle of the field, like a quarterback sneak or something like that, that line judge, that ref who's standing on the sideline, is at a minimum 80 feet from the action. He's trying to look at this action with one set of eyeballs, with no ability to zoom in. There's nothing conclusive about what that guy happens to see. He's being blocked by players at times, but yet we're going to rely on him. We're going to rely on that guy for where that ball should be spotted, rather than 8 different camera angles that are zoomed in perfectly. Like, I understand there's no chip in the ball. There is a chip in the ball, but they say that chip cannot work in this capacity. And I don't want to get into all the little details of it, but the bottom line is that, you know, when they use it for soccer, they use it for tennis and spotting whether it crosses the goal line or hits out of bounds. There's nothing obstructing that ball for the vast majority of the time that it's in flight. And all these cameras can be trained right on the goal line or right on the end line or whatever they call it in tennis. And, whereas in football, the line, so to speak, of where they need for those cameras is always moving because the first down marker, and you got guys over the top of the football and it's not perfect angles, all this stuff. This is their excuses for why they cannot use it. But my issue goes, that's going to be difficult to change. And I don't know when we're going to change that. My issue is the general concept of the perfection of these guys on the field, these two refs who are coming in to spot the ball, saying that they hold all the authority and nothing we see on video, unless it is clear 100% conclusive, could overrule these guys, as if their vision of 70-year-old men 80 feet away from the play without the ability to zoom in, might be blinking, it might be cold, their eyes might be watering, it's hard to judge exactly where this guy is, and they're the end-all be-all. Like, they're the judges, and only if we have a perfect angle with no other questions about it could possibly we overrule these guys. And I say that's BS. I say we don't need indisputable, clear video evidence. We need the most likely, what most likely happened here. If we can't get it perfect, what is the most likely result of this? So we're going to show a few videos here. Let's go to the first one.
NFL replay assist kind of help with that, because obviously this is impossible.
This is from the Pat McAfee show.
It's tough to tell, but even the play before with Dalton Kincaid, where it looked as though he landed.
Can you pause this for a second? I just want to set this up. All right, this is from the Pat McAfee show. This is Adam Schefter's appearance yesterday, and we're going to talk about two plays here that happened. The biggest play in question was this 4th and inches play where the quarterback sneaked it. But also, listen to Adam Schefter as we're talking about this 3rd and 3 play, the very play right before it where Dalton Kincaid catches this pass, and we're not sure, did he get a first down, did he not? No measurement was taken. There was no replay assist that was brought in. Remember how there's at times, especially in key situations, 4th quarter of a championship game, I would think is key enough to get replay assist to maybe double check on something. But no, we're not going to use replay assist here at all because we just pick and choose when we want to use replay assist. But the Bills could have also challenged this spot. And let's not forget about that as it relates to Sean McDermott. The Bills could have challenged this 3rd down spot. But let's just play this quick 2-minute clip and then I'll have some more reaction here.
So NFL replay assist kind of help with that, because obviously this is impossible to overturn and it's tough to tell. But even the play before with Dalton Kincaid, where it looked as though he landed directly on the line, and that was ruled not a first down. So is that going to be part of the development with the replay assist?
I forgot that was the play before. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, people are pissed, Shefty. People are pissed. Yeah. Chiefs benefit from it, obviously.
Big time.
People get very touchy about officiating topics. I see. Yeah, very touchy.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
I think that didn't the league experiment this past summer? Not to go back and look and find out more, but didn't the league with the electronic marking, whether that's the chip,
Hawkeye technology? It just took too long. Remember, it took like 30 minutes, seemingly. I think it was like 4 minutes to decide whether or not something was in or out, and they decided they were supposed to do it this season. Then it took too long. They're like, we're getting rid of this. This is way, and then they brought the chains back.
Didn't work in bad weather either.
Yeah, because the technology.
Play the Dawson Knox play again. I want to see that again.
Oh, Shefty wants to give a read on.
I just want to see it because I forgot that was the play before. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Shefty, we're all saying it. Yeah. We all think. I'm like the biggest Chiefs is still the Chiefs guy, but watching these two plays consecutively, it's like, that is really tough.
All right, so I'm not sure if you guys in the comments there saw that. Is it cutting out for you guys or not? I'm not quite sure. Whether or not that was playing smoothly, but on my end, it was seemingly cutting out. But obviously that was interesting. 2 consecutive spots that are marked short, and maybe they were both right, but we don't know if they were both right or not. The first one obviously was a lot easier to judge because with the Dalton Kincaid issue, but we'll have to see. So let's play the second ball spotting clip where we're looking at the fourth down sneak. And let's watch this one. So you got the guy at the top of the screen, and this second lunge is where I thought that he got across. But you look at the white line at the bottom, you look at the white line at the top, that looks like it's across to me. The issue to me, though, is this guy right here who's got the leg that's kind of curving in, and he's trying to jog across the field, and he's real short, right? Like this guy is super short, and he's bending even lower. So there's more bodies that are in the way. The higher you are, the more you can see down. You're going to be less obstructed. This is a short guy who's bending even lower, and he's trying to look down the line. He cannot see the ball. If you're watching this the way that I'm watching this, there is no way possible that that guy on the Chiefs sideline right there can see the ball. On this lunge, where's the ball? He cannot. He's guessing. He is guessing where that football is. There is no other way to say it, but he is guessing. He's using his best possible guess when he's coming in as to where that ball is. It is being completely and 100% obstructed from his vision by Josh Allen's body on that final lunge. He cannot tell where that ball is. The guy on the near side where this camera is, there's an official standing right here opposite this guy, looking the same direction that we are, has the absolute better view. There is no doubt about it that that guy has the better view. So now go to the last clip.
Where he's going to mark it.
Yes, he's in
And
front of
the guy who's coming in at the bottom of the screen, you can turn the sound off here. The guy who's coming in from the bottom of the screen is the guy who's coming in from the Chiefs side, who is completely obstructed, who could not see where the football is in Josh Allen's hands. The guy who's coming in from the top of the screen is the guy who could see from our perspective where that football was, because Josh Allen is literally facing him. He's blocking. His back is to the guy at the bottom of the screen. The football and his front is to the guy at the top of the screen. And the guy at the top of the screen clearly is coming in. He just needed to get to the 40. The guy at the top of the screen is saying first down, first down. The guy at the bottom of the screen is coming in from the Chiefs side is saying it's not a first down. The replay refuses to overturn it because it's not definitive. And this is where you have to say bullshit. You simply have to call a spade here. You got to fix this. The NFL has to figure out a way to simply, you don't have to change anything with the football. Just simply say that this guy at the bottom of the screen is not infallible. He's not perfect. He's far from perfect. His view is far from perfect. That guy caused the Bills not to get that first down. That specific referee coming in and overruling the guy at the top is the only reason they didn't get a first down. And he couldn't even see the damn ball. He could not see the damn ball. And so the video is far more clear than anything that guy saw. So we're not going to use the video because it might not be 100% perfect, even though it sure as shit looks like it's close to being a first down. And if you had to piece all the angles together, it probably is a first down. But we're going to just go with this guy's opinion, who's backwards to the ball and just totally guessing, who's also overruling the guy with the best vision. So I don't think the NFL has to change anything. The NFL, I would love for them to put chips in the ball and billions of cameras and get this perfect. They don't have to get it perfect for this to work. Just change the part of the rule when we're spotting the ball that we don't need indisputable video evidence. We need what is most likely to be the outcome of this play. That's all we care about as fans. What most likely happened here based on the best angles that we've got pieced together. Not the one guy, the short guy who's squatting down even lower, who can't even see the ball, overruling the other guy and deciding that this is not a first down. Unacceptable, completely unacceptable. I agree with Exile. Unacceptable ball spot. BS, and I won my bets. Yeah, this is the other thing I want to say here. I told you guys this when I was having issues with the refs before the game, just commenting on, the penalty analysis from last week's show. I might be in the minority from some other people, but I do not believe the games are fixed. So anybody suggesting that is wrong. I said that before the game. I said it now. I firmly believe that this is not the issue. This guy is totally incompetent, and I'm not quite sure why we are allowing that one guy to decide everything here. but that's what ended up happening. And the league can fix this, and it doesn't have to be very difficult. But as it relates to like losing bets, winning bets, or these types of things, if you're a client, and many of you guys are in here, I'm sure, you know we wanted the Eagles and the Chiefs to win these games. We had bets moving forward that benefit, and we will win based upon the fact that the Eagles and the Chiefs are playing in the Super Bowl. We wanted the Kansas City Chiefs to win the game. We would make money. If we're rooting for our bets, we would make money for the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Buffalo Bills. We were betting on that outcome. We were betting on the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Washington Commanders. We wanted the Washington Commanders to lose. That's not going to stop me from tweeting what I objectively see when there's missed calls or bullshit calls or things that I'm noticing when I'm watching the game. I'm not going to be beholden to my bet. That's what so many people do. That's not what I'm ever going to do. I'm going to tweet objectively based upon what I am seeing and what my opinions are during the course of a game. Or I'm going to be talking after the game, like I'm doing now, about how I think the NFL can improve their product, because I care what the product looks like. I care about the perception of the product. I care about the results of the on the field, because we are trying to bet on these things. We want them to be as clean and even as possible. We don't want there to be biases involved. We want no biases at all here. We want the optimal outcomes for these games. We don't want officials to have tendencies. You know, I talk to Joe Gibbs, our referee analyst, about this all the time. He studies the refs. He studies their tendencies. He studies which guys are more likely to call this versus that, which guys sort of get influenced by the home crowd, and they tend to call more things over against the road team and less on the home team. And then the league understands these things, and they can pick and choose which ref goes on the different games, right? They assign different refs to different games. I realize that that's a great thing to study and to analyze, and it is valuable from like an information perspective, but I just hate the fact that there are biases with these refs. I wish that all the refs called everything completely the same. They were all robotic. They didn't favor home versus road. They didn't call more holding, offensive holding. This crew calls more offensive holding than that crew. I wish everybody called it the exact same, because that is easier to make money off of it when you're betting if everything is even, and everybody calls it the exact same way. So Damon says true athletic contest. I mean, I don't know if you're saying it in this sense, but that's what I want to see. I want everything to be decided on the field by the players that are playing the game. I don't want the referees to change the outcome in any way, shape, or form. No one will ask Goodell a legit question about this in his presser next week, says Brett. And yeah, I mean, they all serve up softballs to Goodell. He has his kind of like his State of the Union at the Super Bowl. So down in New Orleans next week, he's going to have a State of the Union. And that's exactly what's going to happen there. Okay. Let us see here. Oh, and I want to talk one thing real quick about before we move on to some other topics. Shawn Hochuli, let's go to this video. Let's go to this next topic here. So let's pull up the clip of Shawn Hochuli real quick.
Washington has been advised that at some point the referee can award a score if this type of behavior happens again.
So we all knew this guy was a total clown show. This guy loves to hear himself talk. The fact that this guy is talking about awarding the score, NFL Good Morning, I think it's called, had this clip pulled up, and they played it yesterday on their show. And I just want to pull it up here because probably not very many of you guys watched that show. Just want to highlight this. There's only been one score against Alabama down the side. There's only been one score that has ever been awarded by a referee in college or pro. Okay, it's never happened in pro. The only time it's happened in college was in 1954 in the Cotton Bowl. And the reason it happened was what you're going to see in this play, which is probably an objective reason to award a score. Let's play this tape through.
Against Alabama, down the sidelines, a legendary. Watch 47. Watch what happens on this play. You will not believe it happens. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Whoa, 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 whoa! That is Tommy Lewis off the sideline, taking him out with a hit and then going right back to the bench like he did nothing. So again, Dickie Magel's in the clear. He's going to score. And Tommy Lewis, who is on the bench, not on the field, makes a beautiful tackle, which actually injured Magel. The officials said touchdown. They called it a touchdown for a palpably unfair act. And this, as far as we know, is the last time this has ever been called in any level of football game. Never NFL, but the 54 Cotton Bowl.
What? Okay, so this is the only time that rule has ever been invoked. For this clown to come on this game and start talking about that he's going to invoke some rule because the defense is doing what? Trying to stop the tush push from scoring, trying their damn best. You think Frankie Louvu is just doing this for fun? He jumped over and helped stop it one time earlier in the game. He's obviously trying to stop them from scoring. And this clown comes on and talks about awarding them a score. Absurd. If you already didn't hate Shawn Hochuli, this is your primary reason to hate him. Now that you realize that the reason that they actually awarded a score, the only time it's ever happened, because then they brought in whatever the ref specialist is on Fox. I forget what his name is. He used to be ref, Mike Pereira, I think it is. Oh yes, well technically this is a rule. You know, this could happen. That's all they basically said. You know, basically defending Shawn Hochuli. Oh, he's not wrong. This really could happen. The reality is this has never happened. It should never happen. And this clown shouldn't get on the TV and start talking about the fact that he could do this. So Shawn Hochuli bugs the crap out of me if you don't already know. Okay. Exile says Hochuli awarding a score would be a pelt for his wall that no one else has. Absolutely. Absolutely. Exile. No doubt about it. Shawn Hochuli wanted to say that. And frankly, if I was Dan Quinn and the Commanders at that point in the game, I'm just like, go ahead and do it. We're just going to keep trying to stop this play. If you're going to keep coming to the line of scrimmage with a tush push that's almost impossible to stop, and then you're going to hard count it, we're going to jump over. We're trying to stop it. So if you pull us off sides, you've pulled us off sides. If you don't want us to jump over, stop coming there and hard counting. I think he only did it 3 times. So I don't think he was doing it like 5 times here or something. Our referee expert has says it all season. He hates Hochuli. Yeah. Who likes Shawn Hochuli? I mean, I could say some things here, but I'm just not going to. Let's move on. Let's move on. I want to talk a little bit about the Buffalo Bills and their future for 2025 and beyond. So let's go to the next topic. Okay. I'm going to play a clip. I'm not sure the name of this program, but credit for the content creators it comes from. It comes from Barstool, some sort of post-game phone-in that features Dave Portnoy and John Gruden and a couple of other people. Stephen Che was in the background too. And they must have some sort of a phone-in, rant, give your rants about the game or whatnot. And a Buffalo Bills fan calls in. And I'm going to play this whole clip of this guy talking for a couple minutes about how the Buffalo Bills are impacting his life. And this is sometimes a serious show, like by me making serious points, giving out bets that are very serious because we're putting our money on them, trying to improve the NFL. There's obviously sometimes for lighthearted moments as well. But you guys should know this. I am not a fan of any one team. So I don't know what it feels like to be rooting for a team that gets close but never gets all the way. I don't know that feeling. But I do have empathy, and I immediately put myself in this guy's shoes when he's talking. So I know you're going to see this clip, and at points Dave Portnoy is chuckling under his breath. You have to remember, Dave is a fan of like the Patriots. And they've won hundreds of, I don't want to say hundreds, but just rolling the number higher. They've run tons of Super Bowls in his lifetime. Other Boston teams, I mean, they've won a lot, the Celtics or the Bruins, etc. They've won a lot. In Buffalo, the story is obviously very different. And so I want you to, we're going to talk a little bit about fixing the Buffalo Bills and some things that the Buffalo Bills can do and some of the coaching. To get the right stage for that, I want to play this video so that you can actually understand what true Buffalo Bills fans are going through and are feeling, because I think that that will help your thought process in how to fix the Bills and why it's actually important to fix the Bills. Like, why is it important to fix some of these teams? Is because the vast majority of people that really care about the Bills or any other teams in the NFL are similar to this kid who's calling in here. So go ahead and roll this tape.
Struggling.
You answer
with
your
a
own
football
question.
team, with any kind of
Matt
with
answered
any kind
his
of,
own question.
With any kind,
Matt said, "Hey, how
any
you
kind
guys
of-
doing? I'm struggling."
yeah, right, dude. Yeah, it's just like this, right? Like, kind of going through a bunch of shit, right? Personal life, work life, all that, right? And, I'm kind of just at the point where I need my team, man. I need my team to be there for me. The amount of fucking times I have been there for fucking them. And I know they're there for me on paper. I know they're there for me on TV. But what I mean is I need them to win a fucking championship for me to feel good. And how many times do me, my friends, all these group chats I'm in with my boys, right? How many fucking years do we have to go before we do this? I sent them all a text. I'm done. Put my shit in a fucking bag and give it to Goodwill. Because I can invest my time in some other shit that is going to make me feel better about myself and my life. I'm kidding. Probably. Not going to happen. But it makes me fucking feel that way.
Would you
know what I
rather,
mean?
let me ask you, Matt, would you rather be the doormat where you guys weren't really competing, or would you rather be right now where you guys are, which basically you can set your watch to getting your heart and your guts ripped out on a national scene? Like, what is worse? Being this close?
Doormat. No. Give me the fucking doormat.
No. Yeah, I think it's
Swear to
true.
God, give me the
That's
doormat. Wait, Dave, I was 9 years old, man. I was 9 years old sitting on the back of my couch at 249 Hampton Way in Penfield, New York. And it was however many fucking seconds left, right? And my whole family's sitting around, Super Bowl 25, Scott's going up to kick, sitting on the back of my couch. Everyone turns away. I watched that. 9 years old, I watched that. Wide right. I just start crying. The whole family turns around and they look at me. They console me. They knew. And here I am, fucking, all right, 43 years old. Do the math. 34 years ago or 34 years from then. The same fucking bullshit. I'm just done. And I love this fucking team. I love them. But how many more times can I be, how many more fucking times? And just to put it on one other thing, how many years we've been in the playoffs with Sean McDermott? And I love the guy. I love the guy, what he's done for our organization, what he's done for our community, what he's done for me, just in terms of growth to try to be a better fucking person. I love him. But 7 years, are we 7 years in the playoffs? At some point, you have to say it's not fucking working. And you might not like it, but it's a fact. And what's my better opportunity? I don't know. I really don't know. But to continue to go down this path year after year, and I'm going to tell you right now in Western New York, and just from what the national media has said, they said this was our fucking year. Everyone was saying it makes sense. This is it. You know what? But a fan like me stays guarded and is like, but what if? And here we are with that fucking what if. So, it's the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. It's not fucking working.
Obviously brutal, right? Like, this is one of the all-time epic rants. In terms of, if you guys care about cursing, I should have warned you beforehand, but the guy's frustrated, clearly. There's two simple steps to fixing the Buffalo Bills, in my opinion, moving forward as quickly as possible. Step one, fire Sean McDermott. Step two, hire Steve Spagnuolo. You will have a much better path to getting to where you want to go, which is to a Super Bowl appearance and potentially winning, if you simply fire Sean McDermott and hire Steve Spagnuolo. There's haters out there, or there's guys on Twitter who are Chiefs fans that say Steve Spagnuolo doesn't want another head coaching job. Steve Spagnuolo does. We can look it up. You can Google would Steve Spagnuolo take a head coaching job? There's articles that came out right after the season last year that said he would like to have that opportunity. No teams are hiring Steve Spagnuolo, though, to be their head coach, which is just absolutely absurd. But I don't know if you're a fan of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. I love reading. I was big into it probably about 7 years ago. Still look back on it, flip through just some of those principles, philosophies, because I think that they relate a lot to football, ironically, a lot of sports in general. It's about war, but it also relates to like decision making in sports. And one of his teachings is the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Win the battle before you even get on the field. And this is where Sean McDermott always comes up short. And you have the opportunity, if you were to hire Steve Spagnuolo, of stealing basically one of the biggest reasons why the Kansas City Chiefs keep winning Super Bowls is because their defense is elite and extremely well coached. And not just well coached, extremely well prepared for every situation and for every dynamic. And we're going to play some videos momentarily and talk about this Kansas City Chiefs defense and what they do. But the issue for the Buffalo Bills and why they need to get rid of Sean McDermott is you are never going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs by bringing a Sean McDermott to an Andy Reid fight. You cannot win an Andy Reid fight with a Sean McDermott. It's just not going to happen. You know, we're using the old bringing a knife to a gunfight analogy, but you're not going to win an Andy Reid fight by bringing a Sean McDermott. It's just not going to happen. But let's talk about Spags momentarily here. First video is Chris Jones after the game, immediately after game, talking about why the Chiefs are winning, why they keep going to the Super Bowl, and why other teams are helping them. Play this clip.
As long as they continue to let Spags be our DC and not hire him as a head coach, we're going to continue to win, man. For me, he's one of the greatest assistant coaches to ever coach the game. You look at his resume, he got one of the greatest resumes, and he found a way to close, man. That's what Spags does. Whether it's dropping me and covering a tight end, or whether it's sending quarterback pressure at the end of the game, that's what he's known for, man. He can download different schematics and different blitzes to affect the opposing quarterback. And he does a really, really good job at it.
Here's Sean Connery's accent from The Untouchables. Vince Vegas says he loves the Sun Tzu, Art of War, Chinese Bible, Exile, dead on point there with the Sun Tzu quotes. Chris Jones knows, as long as they keep letting Steve Spagnuolo be our defensive coordinator and not hire him as a head coach, this is what's going to keep happening. He hasn't prepared. And I can tell you that he hasn't prepared, and lots of other people, not enough. Spags does not get enough credit for this as he deserves. Like, I tried to rant about him endlessly in last year's Super Bowl win. Just a drop in the bucket. Other people talk about him as well. It's always going to come back to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and just their brilliance on the offensive side of the ball. Spags is the massive difference maker in this equation. And here's just an example of that from after the game. Here's a tweet from Tyler Dunn. Here's what he said. I chatted with Bills guard Osiris Torrance about the decisive 4th and 5 play. This is the one where Josh Allen gets immediately pressured from his right side as the blitz is coming from the top of the screen there, and he backpedals as quickly as he can and chucks it deep. That's the play we're talking about. All game long, defense coordinator Steve Spagnuolo showed this particular pressure and backed off of it. Typically, he sent heat where the Chiefs weren't showing it pre-snap. That's why the Bills slid their protections to the left. Big mistake. The Legends of Spag grows. Quote, they set it up. It was like they were waiting to get in that situation all game to bring out that one pressure. Holy shit. I don't know if you guys are getting chills. I love this. I live for this type of stuff. I just literally got the chills. If you could like run something down my back, just got the chills. That is an insane quote. Spags set this thing up for the vast majority of the game, saved it for this one specific time. And I want to play you another video. This video here doesn't have sound. You could just run this video on repeat a few times. What I want you to watch in this video was that decisive last play. And we're not going to show that play to conclusion. But what we're showing is, what I want you to watch is those defensive backs at the bottom of the screen. So pause it at the start of the video again when it runs through. Pause it right here. Okay. You have 4 eligible receivers to the bottom of the screen. It's a 4th and 5, which means that they only need to get to the 52-yard line. The only defensive backs in that area, there's only 2 of them. And look how much cushion they're giving. And then the key is play this for 1 or 2 seconds and then pause it. Watch what these defensive backs are doing. They're stepping back. They're bailing. You've got 4 receivers down here at the bottom of the screen, eligibles, and these guys are bailing out. Why would they do that? Why would Spags see 4 eligibles over here and just be okay with they only need 5 yards, right? The safety's over the top. He's not going to get down there to stop somebody if they throw a quick screen pass out to Shakir or somebody else. You've got a 3-on-2 blocking advantage down there. At worst, if the defensive end drops off, which he will do, but he won't come all the way out to the outside, it's 3-on-3 blocking, and you've got a receiver who could catch that ball. Spags doesn't care. Why doesn't he care? Because he knows what the Bills are about to do here. He knows the tendency of what the Bills might do, and he is prepared with his blitz on the other side of it. And watch the direction that all of those receivers run. Not one of them actually tries to run a route down here at the bottom. Shakir runs this orbit motion that's getting talked a lot about. All 3 of these other receivers run across the field diagonally on crossing routes, and then they get covered by the rest of the DBs. Spags knew that he didn't have to freak out about this or waste a timeout because they don't have the right coverage. He felt great about the situation they're in. So play it again. Watch those 3 receivers for the Bills that are in that bunch. They're all going to run up. Defense is fine. Defense is fine. So Spags sent this pressure. He dialed it up for the exact right moment. He knew exactly when to levy it. I realized that Dalton Kincaid should have caught the ball, and the Buffalo Bills might go down there, and who knows, they could have scored a touchdown. They could have kicked the field goal to at least tie the game, send it to overtime. But this is just Spags being one step ahead of Sean McDermott. Just from a coaching standpoint. And this is where we've got, let's go to the next topic that's sort of related to Spags and Andy Reid, and Andy Reid versus Sean McDermott. To me, there is a big difference, and this is, you might argue, is a little bit of semantics here, but to me, there is a big difference. And I'll play this quote, and you'll be able to hear what I'm saying here. But Sean McDermott calls on players to make plays. Andy Reid calls plays to help players. He's got the prep down to call the right plays in the right situation to make life easy for the players. Sean McDermott wants his players to step up in the big moments. Now, obviously, Andy Reid wants the same as well. But Andy Reid is winning these snaps, and Steve Spagnuolo. They are winning the snaps before the ball is even snapped. They are winning those downs before the ball is even snapped. He's making life as easy as possible for his players and putting them in the right situation. They are anticipating and predicting what their looks they're going to get on both sides of the ball, and they're setting their players up to just simply execute. Whereas too often the Buffalo Bills with Sean McDermott are asking Josh Allen to go perform miracles out there. Just perform miracles. And it's not acceptable. And this is why you're not going to win an Andy Reid fight by bringing a Sean McDermott to battle. Another Sun Tzu, the victorious warrior wins first and then goes to war, while the defeated warrior goes to war first and then seeks to win. This is Sean McDermott. He goes to war and tries to win. Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo win first and then they go to war. Play this clip from Sean McDermott after the game, and you tell me if this is not the voice of a coach who would just hope to call a good play and expected, like, maybe we're going to convert here because we've got Josh Allen.
Down 3 with the ball in Josh's hands, and I felt really good about our chances. I really did, and you know, give credit to their defense. They made the stops there, and then that one ball falls short. You know, the one to Dalton there. So you know, it's a shame. We had a great season, and you know, this is a team I'll remember for a long time.
I mean, there's nothing really to say there. I do want to add this other video of Samaje Perine on that key conversion for the Kansas City Chiefs. And what I want, the reason I'm layering this on here right now is the context and the juxtaposition of what Sean McDermott does and that staff with what they called on that play and what they're trying to hope that Josh Allen can execute and pull off here to convert on a key 4th down. And what Andy Reid called for Samaje Perine on the play that they needed to convert in order to seal the game. Play the Perine catch. I want you to watch how easy it is for Patrick Mahomes to complete this pass. Let's play, rewind. We'll start from the beginning and just pause it. Okay, pause it right here. They motion the 3 receivers out into a bunch at the top of the screen with absolutely no intent to ever throw the guys the ball. That's not the first primary read. They're going to clear out, and you're going to have Samaje Perine run completely uncovered because of the clear out and a nice rub that's naturally generated. You could call it a pick if you want, but it's a nice rub. This is the first and primary read on this play. Look how far Samaje Perine has to get a first down. I don't remember offhand. Maybe somebody can share if this is 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 7 or what have you. But it was longer than 5 yards, which is what the Buffalo Bills had to go. The Buffalo Bills needed 5 yards, and they basically have Josh Allen going berserk back there because a blitz is coming, and he's chucking the ball in this. And you got the Chiefs in a longer distance to go. Watch this ease of the pass from Patrick Mahomes after this natural pick is generated. Go ahead and play it. Wide open. Not only that, look how the passing lane just opens up because you've got the left tackle dropping down. You've got the right guard, the left guard blocking in. They're opening a complete alley. You talk about alleys for running backs. Andy Reid intentionally is opening a massive alley, so this ball cannot be tipped. This ball is not going to be tipped. There is a clear, simple path for Patrick Mahomes to throw one of the shortest passes possible to Perine to get a huge gain on the key 3rd down and win the game for the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the difference. This is the difference between Sean McDermott and Andy Reid, and Sean McDermott's staff and Andy Reid's staff. It's not even close to being comparable. And this is why if you're going to play Kansas City, you have to beat not just Patrick Mahomes, but it's Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. And this is why other teams can't do that. Because these two guys are just so far ahead of the rest of the league right now in how they're game planning, in how they're calling plays, in the way that they're preparing for their opponents. It just becomes so challenging to win those games. And it's a big reason why it's not even a joke. I'm not saying this to be comical at all. If you want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you need to get Steve Spagnuolo out of Kansas City. Maybe Kansas City loses to the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. They're only a 1.5 point favorite, Kansas City is. Keep in mind, the last two Super Bowls that the Kansas City Chiefs won, both were by 3 points. Kansas City was actually the underdog in both of those games. They were the perceived worst team in both of those two games, in the 2022 Super Bowl and in the 2023 Super Bowl. So now they're actually favored in this game. But anything could happen on like a minor play. But if you're going to figure out a way to dethrone these guys like consistently, because I don't call getting to the AFC Championship, even if they lose the Super Bowl, you could say, oh, they lost out, they were dethroned. Fine, you could say that if you want. This team is still one of the best two teams in the NFL, even if they lost that. The only way that they can move down from that, in my opinion, because they're not losing Andy Reid and they're not losing Patrick Mahomes, is for somebody to hire Steve Spagnuolo. All right, let's talk about one more aspect. I want to pivot and talk a little bit about the Super Bowl and relate that to something that we saw in these games in the championship round. So let's go to the next topic. Cooper DeJean makes that play. Ian says Cooper DeJean makes that play. Sean says, thank you, Warren. Vince says, Spags can't do anything about Philly manhandling them with their run game. Thing is, coaches are sheep and the shepherds are passing nowadays. I don't know about that comment, Vince. If the Eagles' O-line is healthy, the spread might go to a pick 'em. It'll be interesting to see what happens there with the Eagles' offensive line health. I would expect they get their starting center back. I don't know about Dickerson, though. We'll have to see what comes out of that. But I would think Cam Jurgens is back. No pun intended with his back. That's speculation. I don't have inside information, but that's speculation. I want to talk about the Tush push. I alluded to this at the beginning of the show, why it could factor into the Super Bowl and be a big issue. It obviously factored into the AFC Championship game. We saw it multiple times. So the key question is, will the Buffalo Bills failures in the Tush push and the Eagles' successes in the Tush push be the difference? Because keep in mind, the Buffalo Bills they were leading that game late. They could have won the game. It probably came down to one of the 4 Tush pushes that was not successful by them. And so by that, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills Tush push itself, which is a concept that I just don't understand, especially when you already have a hack, like the Philadelphia Eagles showed us. And the Philadelphia Eagles Tush push is all built upon physics. I went to engineering school. This was one I had engineering courses in high school too as elective, studied physics there, studied it more in college. And Newton's second law of motion is force equals mass times acceleration. When you have the mass, so if you're trying to create the most force on a quarterback sneak, the way to do that is doing what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing, because it's mass times acceleration. All the players are accelerating at the same speed off the ball, right? You could coach timing the snap better, but it's hard to explode faster. I mean, you can work on it and practice your acceleration out of your stance. But when you have the mass of bodies that are piled up there, and what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing with that offensive line so close together and the quarterback and the pushers all together, they're creating and adding to the mass. The force that's generated by that whole unit is going to be larger and greater than any force that Josh Allen would generate by himself or by one Ty Johnson, backup running back, pushing him. That's Newton's second law of motion. Newton's first law of motion, the law of inertia, an object will remain in motion at a constant speed and direction unless acted upon by an external force. This is where the defense comes into play. The defense has to have some type of equal force to try to stop the Philadelphia Eagles in that tush push. It becomes much more difficult when you have that level of mass that's moving at the same level of acceleration, the force that's generated to stop it when you don't have pushers yourself and you don't have the much mass that's on your side of the ball battling and butting heads against what the Philadelphia Eagles are bringing to the table. You have the same acceleration. You can explode out of your stance just as well. There's obviously, low man wins and all of those types of things as well thrown in here. I'm just talking about one little aspect of this that's making it so hard to defend. So I want to show the Eagles tush push here.
Hurts has it. Barkley and Goddard the push. Got it. First down.
Well, you got a guy who squats about 550 pounds running the ball, and a guy who squats about 600 pushing him from behind. I'd say they got a pretty good chance of converting that.
All that mass, all the pushers. You saw on the first initial surge, they didn't quite get it, but then you have the rest of it coming through and all that force that's generated by the mass of players and their strength and the leg strength of Saquon Barkley and of Jalen Hurts. And you got Dallas Goedert, your starting tight end, who is huge, and that big offensive line. This is what generates that force that's hard to defend. So that's what's going to be interesting to see how the Kansas City Chiefs try to combat that. But now let's go to the Buffalo Bills tush push from the end zone and just bring this up and don't play it yet. The end zone angle.
That's where he goes. They're going to extend it out so that way Reid ends up making the.
Can you go back to the beginning and don't play it? Just bring it up. I want to talk about what people are going to watch here. Let's load this. Can you bring it up on this?
That's where he goes. They're going to extend it out so that way Reid ends up making the play right there. It's almost like you could. That's where he goes. They're going to extend it out so that way.
All right, we might be having some technical issues here. See if you can bring it up and pause it before he starts doing anything. The point is, what Josh Allen does here, so the Buffalo Bills and their sort of tush push involves one pusher, and just bring it up whenever you can and I'll stop talking, but involves one pusher, generally speaking, behind him. And Josh Allen, instead of following the initial surge of that offensive line, he moves laterally, which takes away his acceleration. And I realize he's trying to pick and choose a hole. Always, it seems to be that he's going to his left, which the Kansas City Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo realized and understood and were able to figure out. So, okay, just zoom in here if you can, or we could go with this. Watch Josh, the difference between the way that the Philadelphia Eagles, not only do they have more pushers, which is smart, but they are generating as quickly as possible that force, mass times acceleration, straight ahead. Whereas Josh Allen is moving laterally, which is defeating his ability. Now, all of a sudden, you're trying to get an inch, maybe 2 inches. And so if the defense and the offense both start at the same time, theoretically, and they can both accelerate, they're going to meet right there in the middle. But if Josh Allen is waiting and waiting, then the defense can theoretically push a little bit further before Josh Allen even gets there. That's why it's important to go right at the first snap as opposed to sit there and wait. I understand it could work sometimes, and if defenses aren't used to it, it could work, and defenses aren't prepared. We're talking about the AFC Championship game here. we're also talking about the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles have showed and laid out a blueprint for this. But let's go to play. Watch Josh Allen, how he goes to his left laterally, taking multiple steps and then tries to get pushed. And so he didn't convert that. And let's go and play the video clip of all the Buffalo Bills tush pushes in this game. I've got another clip where I've played all the Buffalo Bills tush pushes. The first one of the game is on this 3rd and 1, and they get it. He sort of went straight up the middle, maybe over his left guard, and got it. Here's the 2-point conversion. He's not going to get this one. That was the play that we just saw. Here's 3rd and goal. He's not going to get this one. Here's 3rd and 1 at the end of the 3rd quarter. He's not going to get this one. You have all these receivers doing absolutely nothing. You have the defensive line all stacked up ready for it. Here's the key 4th and 1, 4th and inches at the start of the 4th quarter. This one, I'm sorry, this is a 4th one. This is not a tush push. I put this in here. He just jumps over the top. This is not actually a tush push. Here's the key 4th down. That's the final tush push that we're talking about where they didn't get it. And the question is, where's the ball spotted? Should he have gotten it? Should he have not have gotten it? But the point is, there were 5 total true tush pushes in this game. They got the first one. They failed on 4 straight true tush pushes. The only one that was successful was Josh Allen jumping over. Now, there were other 4th downs that the Kansas City Chiefs converted with Josh Allen's legs, where they spread everybody out and he was in shotgun and then took it and ran. Right? That's not a tush push. We're talking about the physics and the execution of the actual tush push. So I'm going to be first of all, this is just Sean McDermott. Exile says it's more of a power run call. Brett says he had the Allen touchdown prop, so this is triggering. Sorry about that. There was opportunities for them to score. If you think about the margin at which the Buffalo Bills lost that game in Kansas City to the Kansas City Chiefs, who played relatively well and extremely clean football, and the Buffalo Bills lost by that margin, with those 4 tush pushes failing, what might have been the outcome if they don't have those 4 tush pushes fail? I mean, we'll obviously never know. But you've got the Philadelphia Eagles who have a much better tush push operation. So for number one, it's about looking forward to 2 weeks from now to the Super Bowl to try to play out who's going to win that battle when the Eagles inevitably do have what I would believe to be multiple tush push opportunities. And then it's also looking at the Buffalo Bills again and Sean McDermott and what can this team do to try to win games in the future against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. And don't worry about why you're losing these games with the bad tush push. How could we fix this in the future? And I would argue, start using the Philadelphia Eagles style of tush push. Stop using this style of tush push against the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship. If you go up against the, I don't want to throw it like the Jacksonville Jaguars, or I know the Jaguars given the Bills trouble in the past, but some random team on a random Sunday 1 p.m. game, and you want to use this tush push or whatever, okay, fine. And maybe it works. And maybe it works at a high rate because quarterback sneaks work, generally speaking, at high rates. Quarterback sneaks are great plays. So people posting like regular season statistics about how the Bills on 4th and 1 with their style of tush push typically works. Like, no crap. Most quarterback sneaks from most every player. This is why people in the analytics community for 10 years now have been lobbying for more quarterback sneaks because they win. They work at a much higher rate than turning around and running backwards and handing the ball off to a running back 5 yards behind you on a 4th and 1. The quarterback sneak is the far more efficient play. And that was true when there was no tush push. That was true just in general. So any quarterback sneak from a guy like Josh Allen should have pretty good success. But when you're in these types of situations, you're going up against a team that's seen your little quarterback sneak move where you walk over to the left a step and then you start to try to go forward, and they've stuffed it multiple times in a row. Try something new, Sean McDermott. Figure out a different strategy. It's the same thing over and over that's not working. It's just ridiculous. Ian says Tom Brady was an absolute master. Tom Brady was probably one of the best that we've seen. And part of what made Tom Brady so great is because he would just get to the line of script. They would have a 3rd and 13, and they'd get 12 yards on it at the opponent's like 40-yard line. And then he would keep his, spread 11 personnel out on the field, keep them in spread, run to the line of scrimmage real quick while the defense is all spread out trying to guard them and not even ready. And they don't have their heavy short yardage package in there. And then he just goes. So Brady had like the advantage of the Sun Tzu strategy of winning before the play even happens, based upon there's only 4 down linemen or sometimes 3 down linemen. They bring a linebacker down. You got your 5 offensive linemen, and there Brady can just like do a right away or do a quick count, pause for a second, and then go. He doesn't have to worry about the defense stacked up there in short yardage situation. So that was one of the brilliant things about Tom Brady. If you remember back to Drew Brees, Drew Brees isn't squatting what Jalen Hurts is squatting, right? And Drew Brees was good at quarterback sneaks too. He had his little jump move where he just flash it over the line to gain and pull it right back. They were really good at that too. Obviously, Cam Newton came along. Cam Newton was a beast on these types of plays too. Quarterback sneaks have been great for years. There were a few quarterbacks that were better than others. Some of it was just when they were going, how they were executing the play, rather than just like in the same situation, they were vastly superior on how to do it. But the Eagles came along with this great strategy that's using physics to defeat defensive lines. And the Buffalo Bills are like, no thanks. We'll try our own way. All right. Yeah, Drew Brees, 6 inches, maybe more than 6 inches. I don't know. Drew Brees was great for his height, his stature, his career. A lot of fun to watch Drew Brees, and he was good at the quarterback sneak. Let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. Before I do that, so there's been well, let me give you this here quick. Super Bowl. I've already told you about the prop contest. I've already told you about another prop contest up at Sharp.Football where you can get involved on that one right now for free to win up to $2,000 in cash and prizes by just answering 15 prop questions. Or you could wait another week and a half and do it later, but do not forget to do that. Up to $2,000 in cash prizes by doing nothing but answering 15 prop questions. It takes about 4 minutes to do. On the website, Sharp.Football, but also the prop contest I'll talk about momentarily. But we, of course, have our Super Bowl prop package. I've been hard at work writing the background of the Super Bowl report that I'm going to spend probably 3 more sleepless nights working on and have to you guys over the weekend. For anybody who is subscribed, we already started getting involved in some prop bets, only a few of them, but there's a couple guys that I wanted to target right now. And we also have a bet that was placed on Sunday that is in great shape to have success for the Super Bowl. I will still be coming up with many more prop bets in addition to another wager that I really like on this game that I haven't shared yet, but I want to just double check all of my work with my detailed analysis and the report, and then we'll get that out to you as soon as possible. But this postseason, we are 25-9 on sides and totals and teasers, 25-9, that's 74%. NFL and college football, obviously a great postseason from that respect. In the Super Bowl itself, sides and totals and teasers, I'm 27-10. That's 72%. 18 years doing this and posting my predictions and at some point transitioning to actually running a service over at Sharp.Football.analysis.com. The last 2 years, we're 6-2 on elevated plays in the Super Bowl. Most of them are the sides and totals, but there's been a couple of props that we feel a little bit stronger about. Combined the last 2 years, 6-2 on those. So not a ton of action, but 8 in 2 years, obviously, for a year on average, and hitting 75% there. So if you want to get on board with us for the next 2 weeks, where we're going to be putting out more props, get access to the couple that we just put out today, plus the rest of the futures and Super Bowl plays that we're going to come up with, plus the 50-page Super Bowl report, plus all of Rich Rebar's analysis, plus all of his prop bets that he likes on the Super Bowl, and the rest of our staff, head on over to sharpfootballanalysis.com, and you can use code SHOW50, SHOW50. Use that coupon code. We'll save you $50 off the Super Bowl package. So go to sharpfootballanalysis.com or go to Sharp.Football. Either one will get you there, and use code SHOW50 to get $50 off the Super Bowl package. Okay. I see on Twitter that some people out there were, as I'm looking at different things and tweeting some feedback and some comments about games that I saw and things that were occurring to me. Some people are like, oh, you got to, yeah. And in our group Slack, Jerry Jones makes this cameo on Landman. It's really amazing. He's actually not that bad of an actor on Landman. I didn't actually watch that. I saw the clip on X. I didn't go ahead and watch that show. But a couple of other people were talking about that I should check out, or they weren't talking to me per se, but this show, American Primeval, is a good show. I think it's on Netflix. You should check out American Primeval. Some people were saying it was good. So I typically work till around like 2:30. It all depends on the night, but sometimes I want to calm down after I'm sitting here grinding at my desk with music in my ears and just laser focused on my analysis. And I want to calm down and go, watch a show. And sometimes I'll watch, it depends on the time of year and different things. But I decided, hey, let's change things up a little bit. Let's put on American Primeval. I turn on this show. And I don't know how many of you guys have watched this show. It's like 6 episodes, maybe. It's like a mini series or something. Within 60 seconds, I swear to God, I see Jim Irsay, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, on this show about America, Foundation of America, battling the tribes, Mormons, the army, the different Indian tribes, all these battles and everything going on. Life is brutal, and there's a lot of brutality and murder, and it's wars, battles. It's interesting. You guys seem to like the show, but what in the world is Jim Irsay doing on this thing? And then, then it suddenly doesn't seem that crazy that you've got these guys making some of these boneheaded decisions about their teams. You got these teams that can't seem to get over the hump. These owners not necessarily focused on winning as their first and foremost. And I'm not I don't mind. You got a lot of money. You have various different pursuits. I get it. But it's just silly to me that these teams with these franchises that stink, and it's okay to say that, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, his brother, Jerry's brother, comes out and uses the air quotes about the rut we're in. We haven't been able to win a championship, I guess. People say we're in a rut. Dude, open your eyes. The same type of guy that was bitching and moaning about the Buffalo Bills getting over the hump, this is what your fan base really feels. I think they're so out of touch as to what true fans of their city want and how much a good season from a team could make an actual difference in someone's life. And there are some fans, I guess, that are just so bought in that it really means that much. It really means that much to them. And I just don't understand these owners that just, it's all about money to them. It's not really about winning. They say it's about winning, but it's really not that big of a priority. It's not the priority. There's certain things in your life where it's not great, but you could sort of deal with it, but you still got to focus on a couple of other things. But when there's something that comes up that like a big priority and there's a problem with it, you drop everything and go address that issue, right? Everything is to the side. This is my main focus. I don't care. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. Yeah, I know that's sort of important. This, I got to do this right now. This is very important. This is the most important thing. In the engineering world, when we're working on construction projects, it's called the critical path. Like you're building a hotel and you're pouring a foundation, you're doing the excavation, then you pour the foundation, then you build the hotel up, and you do all the different levels and stages of construction. And there's a critical path through the construction project, which is the path that it takes to get from start to finish of the project. And if you have any delay along that critical path, like the project will be delayed. You cannot have any delay. You might be able to deal with your bathroom tile is shipped a week late, or a pallet ran off the road and you lost a bunch of your supplies. But as long as that's not on the critical path, your project can still finish on time potentially. But if you have a delay along that critical path, the problem. So that's like one of the biggest focuses on construction projects is you cannot delay the critical path, whether you're the owner or you're the contractor. What is your primary focus? What has to, if something else happens, we got to address this. If I'm running a team, I'm thinking my team is the primary focus. We got to win. If we're not winning, we got to figure out why we're not winning. Let's bring in the experts. Let's hire the right people. Let's get focused on winning, because that is the number one thing. We've got to get back on the winning track. For these guys, it's quite clear that is not their primary focus. Their primary focus is not winning at all costs, hiring the right people, making sure that we are as equipped as possible to win games. No, let's go act in American Primeval. Let's go take a cameo in Landman. Let's have a goofball press conference. Let's delay a little bit getting rid of our old coach. Let's delay a little bit hiring a new one. Let's bring a guy in and like Brian Schottenheimer and then talk about how nobody else wanted this guy. I got balls. I got courage. I'm the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. You think I'm not on my A game? I went and took a risk on a guy that nobody else cares about. Nobody would hire this guy, but I did. And what are we doing here? Okay, back to the Super Bowl. We are going to do a little deep dive on Friday for the Super Bowl. We're going to do a major deep dive next Tuesday. We've got tons of time to get ready for the Super Bowl. One of the biggest things that if you are the Kansas City Chiefs and you're thinking about how are we going to stop the Philadelphia Eagles, you always have to think about what I would rather have happen. Would I rather lose to Saquon Barkley? Would I rather lose to Jalen Hurts throwing the ball down the field on me? Now, no defensive coordinator wants to come out and give up 60-yard splash plays, 70-yard, 80-yard. Giving up explosives is the worst thing you can do if you're a defense coordinator. The problem is for most teams, if you're talking about preventing explosives, you're talking about the pass game. But for the Philadelphia Eagles, they're getting their explosives out of the run game, Saquon Barkley. So what are we going to see Steve Spagnuolo try to bring to the table? I went back and looked. I'll pull it up here real quick. It's actually kind of humorous. When you look at the last time that the Philadelphia Eagles played the Kansas City Chiefs in the 2022 Super Bowl, how many of you guys remember that the leading rusher for the Philadelphia Eagles in that game, that the Philadelphia Eagles lost 38-35, the leading rusher, apart from Jalen Hurts, which should be a clue, Jalen Hurts had 15 carries in that game for 70 yards. The leading rusher was Kenneth Gainwell, 7 rushing attempts for 21 yards, averaged 3.0 yards per carry. Sounds terrible. Miles Sanders was even worse. 7 rushing attempts for 16 yards, averaged 2.3 yards per carry. They didn't have a good run game that year. If you remember back to that year when these two teams played 2 years ago, Philadelphia Eagles were this high-potent, high-flying team in the first half of games. They threw the ball to put up points on you, and then they took took the foot off the pedal, slowed down in the second half, and ran the ball a ton when they were sitting there with a 13 to 17 point lead. So you look at their year to date, like full season stats, and it looks like, hey, this team likes to run the ball a little bit. No, they were a pass first team in 2022, passed the ball a ton, and then they ran the ball late with a win, but they passed to build a lead. This team is very different. This Eagles team is very different. That team couldn't run the ball. This team not only can run the ball, they start games running the ball. They come out the gates running the ball. You saw that, what was it, 70-yard run, 60-yard run by Saquon Barkley against the Washington Commanders. Now, interestingly, you take that 60-yard run out of it, Saquon Barkley averaged 4.1 yards per carry on all of his other runs against the Washington Commanders. I know you can't do that. I know you run the ball at times as you're calling run plays in the hopes that one of them will break. One of these runs will bust open. So you can live with 4.1 yards per carry as long as you get that one massive gain. And that's why some people, I agree that it is wrong to take out the one gain from a success rate perspective to understand are these runs generally speaking successful? Are they setting you up behind the sticks or are they not? Holding the Commanders, who have a terrible run defense, holding the Philadelphia Eagles to 4.1 yards per carry, aside from that very first run by Saquon Barkley, is pretty good. And the Kansas City Chiefs obviously have a better run defense, though it's gotten a little bit leaky, have a better run defense than do the Washington Commanders. It certainly looked like James Cook could run the football pretty effectively against this Kansas City Chiefs run defense last week. Buffalo Bills maybe could have benefited from calling a few more run plays. James Cook was having a very good game. But let's get back to the Kansas City Chiefs defense and what are they going to try to take away here from the Philadelphia Eagles? You don't want your defense to be on the field all afternoon. And that could potentially happen if you don't stop the run. In addition, with this Eagles team, then you can also give up those big plays because they are an explosive run team. Jalen Hurts, though, looks great. That was one of his best games that he's played of the season against the Commanders. Now, again, it's the Commanders' pass defense. Marshawn Lattimore looks a shadow of himself out there, and they were sticking him in one-on-one coverage, plus other Commanders cornerbacks trying to cover one-on-one against A.J. Brown and other receivers. Didn't work out so well for them. The Chiefs have much better cover corners. So the Chiefs are going to be able to have, Spags is going to have more confidence in those guys, leaving them on there if they do want to play a little bit of man coverage, which they tend to play more than usual. The issue is Jalen Hurts has big splits. They are much better against man and much worse against zone. But here's some of the numbers for Jalen Hurts, and I've shared these 2 weeks ago. I gave you guys a real early Super Bowl preview, the earliest in the industry, about what Jalen Hurts is struggling with this season and how that could impact him in the future. And it started with their first game that they played in the postseason. I told you about this, but let's go back to this about Jalen Hurts taking on so much pressure, despite the fact that his offensive line ranks number 6 in pass block win rate. If you guys are new, I'm going to relay these stats again. If you guys have been here for several weeks, you've heard me, because this is a talking point that's quite important and could have a major impact of this game. Got to reiterate it. You rank 6th in pass block win rate, which is the rate at which you are preventing your defensive linemen from getting past you towards the quarterback. So whichever offensive line, you're a guard, you're a tackle, you're the center, what's your man-on-man blocking assignment? And if that man gets past you, how long did it take to do that? And you lost that rep. That's how ESPN uses the chips to track pass block win rate. So it's on a player-by-player basis, but they're the 6th best. And yet, despite being the 6th best, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, specifically Jalen Hurts, has been pressured at the number 2 highest rate in the NFL, behind only Deshaun Watson. 38 out of 39 qualifying quarterbacks. Terrible when in terms of allowing pressure to come. He has scrambled or taken a sack on dropbacks 18% of the time. That's right around Caleb Williams of the Chicago Bears. For some context, what does 18% mean? And when we watch the Chicago Bears this past year, and we're trying to evaluate Caleb Williams, one of the biggest arguments in favor, in support of Caleb is his offensive line sucks. Offensive line's giving up so much pressure. Caleb's running for his life back there. Now, there's obviously a lot of other issues that need to be resolved. Hopefully, for their sake, Ben Johnson helps in that regard. But one of the big issues was Caleb under pressure. Scrambling 18% of his dropbacks. That's exactly what Jalen Hurts has been doing this year, too. But he has the 6th best offensive line in pass block win rate. The reason that he's struggling and the reason that he's taking scrambling 18% of the time and the reason why he's got the 2nd highest pressure rate taken is because his time to throw is horrible. Back in 2022, when he went to the Super Bowl against this Kansas City Chiefs team, he averaged 2.68 seconds to throw, which was league average. He had the 9th highest rate of throws within 2.5 seconds. This year, his time to throw is 3.1 seconds, which is the highest in the NFL. The highest. He ranks 29th in rate of throws that come within 2.5 seconds. He has the number 1 highest rate of throws where he holds on to the football for 4 or more seconds. So you might say, well, okay, he's hunting. He's hunting explosives down the field. He's holding onto the ball. If you're trying to defend him and you're not looking at all the other numbers, that's what you might assume. He's looking for big plays, so he's holding on to the ball more. Wrong. He is averaging a lower target depth this year than he was in 2022. He's throwing the ball shorter this year. His air yards per attempt in 2022, when he got rid of the ball faster, 8.1 air yards per attempt. This year, he's taking considerably less pressure. Well, sorry, that was when he was taking less pressure in 2022. Less pressure, averaged 8.1 yards per attempt. This year, he's averaging 7.8 yards per attempt, which is 20th highest. So this is where, if I'm Spags, I would be potentially looking to zone blitz Jalen Hurts. Spags is brilliant with the way that he blitzes off the corners, off the edges. Like, the Eagles are obviously going to have to figure this out and be prepared. But that Super Bowl that Jalen Hurts played again in 2022, I mentioned to you the running backs, and they weren't having success running the football, and their leading running back was Kenneth Gainwell, who's not even a starting caliber running back, and he got 21 total yards in the Super Bowl, averaged 3 yards a carry. Jalen Hurts threw the ball for 304 yards in that game. Devonta Smith had 100, and A.J. Brown had 96 and 1 touchdown. This was a much more well-oiled passing attack in 2022 than it is today. Jalen Hurts was playing much better in 2022 than he is today. He was taking less pressure. He was throwing the ball deeper, more accurately, more efficiently, taking fewer negative plays with these sacks and scrambles and problems once the ball was snapped to him than he is in 2024. They obviously have a much better run game, so that's where Spags is going to have to make those adjustments. Figure out a way to slow down Saquon Barkley, force Jalen Hurts to beat the man coverage at times, but also give him some zone looks with some creative blitzes, because Jalen Hurts is much worse against zone coverage. Now, on the other side of the ball, you've got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid going up against Vic Fangio, which is a great matchup. And you could go back and watch some of the games that Patrick Mahomes played when Vic was coaching elsewhere, because he's made a variety of different stops in the NFL. There was a couple games, I believe, last year for the Miami Dolphins where Vic was there. You also can look back at prior years when Vic was involved in helping game plan against Patrick Mahomes. It is a real cat and mouse battle. The one thing you have to remember about Vic, though, with his defense is it takes a while to master his defense. If it's year one with Vic, and this truly was year one, he was here in the past helping out a little bit, but calling everything, it's not great year one, year two. Week one, week two, week three. It gets a lot better down the stretch. And the Philadelphia Eagles defense obviously has played really well. It's a hard nut to crack in terms of trying to find the soft areas. There are some available over the middle. You've got Travis Kelce. You've got Noah Gray. You've got opportunities to attack some of those weaker spots. But keep in mind, like in the 2022 Super Bowl, when Travis Kelce was targeted 6 times, caught 6 passes, and gained 81 yards through the air with 1 touchdown, the Philadelphia Eagles used to be the worst at covering tight ends. You could set your clock and bank on tight ends going off against the Philadelphia Eagles. They were horrific at covering tight ends. Now, they had some injuries here in the playoffs, but by and large, they still are improved over what they once were. Over that 22 season, they are better at defending tight ends. They used to just be, because there was no capital or revenue spent at that linebacker position. They just didn't care. They were all about the pass rush and then coverage, and they didn't care about the underneath tight end targets. They have improved in that regard this season. It's not elite because of some injuries, but they are better than what they were. But it still is, if you're going to say what's the weak part, what's that scale on the dragon that's might be the soft spot, this would be the soft spot. And the Chiefs have a way to attack that soft spot. The Chiefs this year are the ones who don't have much of a run game. In that Super Bowl, Isaiah Pacheco ran for 5.1 yards per carry. Jerick McKinnon ran for 8.5 yards per carry. They had 2 running backs. Isaiah had 15 carries. McKinnon had 4. So it was primarily Isaiah Pacheco as the bell cow. And he was putting up good yardage on the ground. And then the change of pace was putting up even better yardage on the ground at 8.5 yards per carry. Isaiah Pacheco looks like a shell of himself right now. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco's yardage prop on the, let me look here, rushing, I want to say it was 23.5 or 22.5 this morning. Player rushing yards. Yeah, he's down to 22.5 at most spots in terms of rushing yards. I want to say his attempts is down to like 5.5. Last week we bet his attempts under 8.5. I want to say he had 6, so he won that. They're obviously not using him quite as much, and that's because he's not as productive. Kareem Hunt has looked solid in stand-in. Kareem Hunt is sort of more of, I mean, he's a bigger back. Great for like bad weather, bad turf. Like now you're in turf. Now it's a fast track surface down there in New Orleans. Which one of these backs is going to look the best? Which one of these backs is going to get the most opportunities? Will Andy Reid just decide to throw short underneath passes? Because the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the things the Philadelphia Eagles do really well, and I've already gone through my notes, flagged everything, got all the matchups outlined here as I'm working on my write-up. The Philadelphia Eagles are great defending deep passes. This is the Philadelphia Eagles right there. The number 1 team in the NFL in terms of completion rate on deep passes, 25 plus yards in the air. They're the best. In terms of EPA per attempt on passes thrown, 15 plus yards in the air. They're at the top again. They're the best. Look at where the Kansas City Chiefs are at percentage of passes thrown, 15 plus yards, 3rd or 4th lowest in the NFL, and EPA per attempt on those passes thrown, 15 plus yards in the air, worst in the NFL. Good news for the Kansas City Chiefs, though, and these numbers, by the way, in case you're like wondering, week 9 to 17, not the very beginning of the season. This favors the Chiefs a little bit more because they've got the receivers there now. Some of these guys, Xavier Worthy, they're trying to figure out what to do with the guy the first few weeks of the season. Or he's getting like shoved off the line of scrimmage, falling down on the ground, trying to run a crossing route, just gets blown up by defensive linemen. Like, they've got a really good way to use Xavier Worthy now. They also have Marquise Brown back healthy, who wasn't there during the beginning of the year. So this Kansas City Chiefs team is coming along a lot better now from a receiving perspective, but they're still not this explosive downfield team, and that's not really the way that you want to even attack the Philadelphia Eagles. This pass rush, though, of the Philadelphia Eagles is not the same type of pass rush that the Chiefs played back in 2022 either. This Philadelphia Eagles pass rush, if you look at them right here, where are we at? Right here. They have one of the highest pressure rates in the league, and they have like the lowest blitz rate. One of the lowest blitz rates in the entire NFL. They get natural pressure. And so who's going to win that matchup? You know, Spags is going to try to send pressure, disrupt Jalen Hurts, have him cause problems when he's under pressure where he stinks. I had a tweet. I don't know, I've sent a bunch of tweets here the last several days, but I had a tweet up here about Jalen Hurts under pressure. I've talked about how he's been taking a lot of pressure earlier on the show. I talked about how his time to throw is higher, but I posted a tweet on Sunday morning before the conference championship games about Jalen Hurts and how he performs when under pressure. Let me pull that up. I'm almost there. Just scrolling my timeline here. Scrolling. Jalen Hurts when pressured this year. If you can see that right there. 37 out of 37 quarterbacks in EPA per attempt. 37 out of 37 quarterbacks in success rate. 32 out of 37 quarterbacks in sack rate. 32 out of 37 quarterbacks in yards per attempt. Last year, he was top 10 in all those rankings. So the Eagles have to worry about the blitzes coming from Steve Spagnuolo, and then Spags is going to want to put Jalen Hurts under pressure. The Eagles aren't going to be blitzing Patrick Mahomes. They're going to try to get natural pressure. Who wins that battle is going to go a long way to who wins this game. That Eagles defensive line are beasts. The Chiefs offensive line, not quite as great as in years past and struggling a little bit this season. Who wins that battle? How often then does Patrick Mahomes have to scramble and try to run with the football? I think his rushing attempts prop last week, we got it like 4.5. I want to say this for the Super Bowl, it's 6.5. He obviously went way over 4.5 last time. They're expecting him to run more this week than they were last week. Obviously, you take knowledge from what happened last week and use it to your advantage, but there's a good chance he's under pressure, but it's natural pressure. So who wins that battle along the line? Can the Kansas City Chiefs run the football at all with their running backs against a good Philadelphia Eagles run defense? And then which of these receivers are going to step up and potentially win a battle against a good secondary that the Philadelphia Eagles bring to the table? And how is Andy Reid going to devise this game plan? So a lot for you guys to think about, to chew on. I've got a lot. I'm going to be able to share a lot more detail. I'm not getting into the little nuts and bolts and outside zone, inside zone, all the little angles that I've already researched that I'm writing up for the report that I'll be able to share with you guys next Tuesday. So let us see what some of you guys are saying here. Sanders fumbled twice. Ian says, I hope KC loads the box and plays man outside. Yes, I mean, that's where, if you look at this one, this is the Philadelphia Eagles this year, obviously weeks 9 onward, against sorry, that's the play action one. Hold on. This is defense against play action. Philly has struggled against play action, something that the Chiefs should look to use in this game, because that has been a problem for the Philadelphia Eagles defense. They are pretty sensitive to play action. This is the one. This is where the Philadelphia Eagles are. So this is EPA per attempt versus man. They are second best, weeks 9 through 17. but this is EPA per attempt versus zone up here on the y-axis, and they are slightly below average. So that difference in terms of how far they are away from this neutral line, right here, where that neutral line, the distance away from that is the sensitivity to having to face zone coverage versus man coverage. So, Ian, if he's rooting for the Eagles, would certainly rather the Chiefs try to play man against the Philadelphia Eagles because that's where Jalen Hurts has been at his best. And so that'll be interesting to see what happens when they do play man, because they play man at a higher rate than average, but still around 30% of pass attempts. So we're still talking about 20% of the time they're going to be playing zone, but they do play 30% man, which is higher than average. The average is like 22%, 21 point something, I think. And he confirmed you're a Birds fan, Ian. So there you go. Let's see. Could Hurts ADOT, Ia says, if I'm pronouncing your name right, could Hurts ADOT be related to A.J. Brown being out? Do splits with or without A.J. Brown show anything like that? No, this is pretty much over the course of the entire season. I can look at that specifically. I'm pretty confident that that is not the case, but it's a good question. It's something I can dig into a little bit more with the extra time that we have to look at this game, but I do not think that that's an issue. Exile says Allen was a 3% pressure to sack ratio. I believe 18% is a huge scramble rate. Yes, it is. 18% is, I thought that's the, I want to say it's like the 5th highest in the league and right around where Caleb Williams is. There's a couple quarterbacks that have been worse. All right, we're back. I don't know what the hell happened there, but we're back. Okay, so we got in some good questions, got in a good game breakdown, got in a nice long, almost 2-hour show for you guys. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. We're giving a lot of great information and analysis. Don't know why you wouldn't. Help the show out. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure that you are subscribed to the Sharp Football Analysis YouTube channel as well. Helps us out a ton. So please go in there, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up. I'll be back here on Friday for another show. Might be a little bit different than normal, but we're going to have a show on Friday. And then we're going to have our Super Bowl preview extravaganza next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So again, if you're subscribed over at YouTube, you're going to find out when we go live. You're going to be able to participate when we're giving out our prop bets. The market will move. I 100% guarantee that. We're going to be giving out some of these live on air. So you're going to want to be watching it live rather than watching it later. And the way that you know that we're live is if you're subscribed and you set an alert for the show. So go over to YouTube, subscribe to Sharp Football Analysis. You'll get an alert if you choose to get one when we go live, and so that you can be up to speed, because it is a different time than normal. We're usually on Tuesdays at noon. This will be next Tuesday at 7 p.m. We're going to have tons of guests on here. We're going to have a lot of your video submissions. So that's another reminder. Get ready. On Friday, you can start submitting your props after the show I do at noon. I'll announce it at noon Eastern on Friday. You can begin submitting your props for the Super Bowl prop show. We're going to pick our favorite 10 suggestions, and we're going to decide, and all of those will get airtime on the show. And then of those 10, as a panel, as a Sharp Tank panel, we're going to pick one. We're going to bet $1,000 on that, and we're going to give it all to you if it wins. You're also going to, if you win, get a free subscription for next year. So $2,500 worth of prizes for this contest that is 100% free to enter and takes 30 to 60 seconds of your time to record a quick video as to what prop you like and why you like it, and you can submit it. And there's the other free contest that we're running, free to enter. This one takes 4 minutes of your time. Go to Sharp.Football. You'll see a link to that contest. You can answer 15 questions, prop-related questions, real quick. Pick the side you like, higher, lower, more or less, over, under, etc. And whoever has the most accurate responses is going to win, I think it's $2,000 worth of cash and prizes. So lots of great things we're doing here at the end of the year over the next 11 days or so for you guys. Try to reward you and thank you for helping make this our best season ever. This has been our most profitable season betting in the NFL that we have had to date. And we're trying to give a little bit back to you guys. So take advantage of those, and we will see you guys on Friday. Until then, good luck with all your research. I will continue to research on my end for the Super Bowl. I'll be throwing a few more props into the props package for subscribers. And if you want to figure out how you can get on board for that, you can use the code. There's a code somewhere. Pop it up on the screen again, Matt. Here we go. Show50. Use code Show50. You can get $50 off our Super Bowl package. So if you want to do that, we're going to be working for clients until we see you guys on Friday. So good luck. We'll see you then.
Right.